Okay, on today's episode, I'm at Bucky's Bowl and in Encinitas, California, and I'm going to show you how to shoot really great, or at least passable, skate photos in a bowl. When I started shooting photos back in the day, we're talking like early 1980s, we were shooting in bowls because that's all there was. You know, there were skate parks and, you know, backyard pools. So we kind of had to figure out how to shoot that. And then a few years later, when street skating came in, we kind of pretty much had to invent how to get good skate photos. And we took a lot of what we learned, you know, on cement bowls and at skate parks into the streets and tried to, we were starting from scratch. So we kind of had to, figure it out. Now it's the other way around, where skate photographers are starting out in the street. They've never shot bowls before, and then they're taking their street knowledge into the bowls. Sometimes they do it well, and other times they kind of have to learn it. So today I'm going to try to show you how to shoot a good skate photo in a bowl. If you follow everything I say, you have a good chance of getting a photo in a magazine someday, or online, with a magazine. I'll help you as much as I can. There are no secrets. So yeah, I just got this cool backpack camera case from Damon Way at Incase, and it's pretty cool. So I've got my Canon 5D, which is what I love to use right now. It's nice and compact, and I don't have the big motor drive on it like the old cameras. Shooting bowls, you pretty much need a fisheye lens. This one's a little battered, it's not too bad. As quick as you can, you want to put the other lens on so dust doesn't get in and foul the sensor. In the 70s, with a surf photographer named Warren Bolster, who shot for Skateboarding magazine, brought the fisheye into skateboarding. And this lens has become pretty much the staple for shooting skate photos. And what I like about it is that it gives kind of a three-dimensional look to the photos. Makes everything a little more abstract as far as stretching things out. The view you see a really wide angle. Things get a little weird and it looks pretty cool. I've always enjoyed using a fisheye. And then I've got the 70-200. I use that for long shots, when you want to, flatten out the background, really put the focus on the skater and not as much about what's going on around him. Then we get into these little babies. They never work 100% of the time. They really piss you off sometimes, because you're always screwing with them. They're radio slaves. These are Pocket Wizards Multi-Maxes. This is the magic maker right here. It's a Pocket Wizard TT1, and it's a sender unit that sends the radio signal to your Pocket Wizards that are hooked to your flashes to set your flashes off remotely. You're able to shoot, instead of 200 or 250th of a second, you're able to move up the shutter speed to 500th, and then you can freeze the action in the middle of the day. You'll notice in a lot of shots where middle of the day you'll see a little bit of blur, and it's because the flash sync isn't high enough, and it's actually the ambient light is too strong and it's overpowering the flash. Today I'm going to shoot at a 500th of a second with a flash. My white balance is set on flash. I don't know if that's correct, but that's what I always use. And I've got my ISO at 200. Just opens it up a little bit and allows me to stop down the aperture a little bit, and I get little better depth of field. I kind of don't focus by sight. I focus on the barrel on distance, and I go a little above 4 or 5 feet. Here's focus. There's infinity, and I go under infinity a bit, like maybe halfway between 3 feet and infinity. I don't really care if the coping's out of focus, but the skater's got to be in focus. Quantum turbo batteries, they go with the Q flash. The mag logo's on here in case they get stolen. I can go, there it is. I hook a slave unit up to them. And then I just push the test button and it works. Oh, and the light goes off. I have 2 that work for the moment. We'll see how they are in 10 minutes. So we're ready to go with the flashes. We're ready to go with the camera. This is like a cooking show, kind of, isn't it? I usually like a light in front of the guy. on a trick like this lean air, probably as high as I can get it so he's totally lit up. I don't want to light him up from below because there'll be a shadow in his face, so I have to get the light kind of high. I don't like the actual shadow of the tripod in the photo because it looks stupid, you know? What I'll do is hide the flash in the shadow of the bushes. I usually try to set up a light in the background just to kind of give the guy a rim light, you know, around him to kind of pop him out from the background a little bit. Especially here because you've got some trees and a lot of busy stuff. So the first few shots are always like a, you know, kind of a test. See what looks good, see where I have to kind of move around and get him from. I just kind of tell him to just keep doing it in the same place, and then I move where I am. On the next shot of Bucky, I'm gonna get lower and shoot up at him, and I'll get a lot more sky, and the elevation, his elevation will, you know, change, you know, extremely. But I try to keep my horizons straight. I don't really like crooked horizons. The earth is flat, no matter what Christopher Columbus said. I always look through my lens too, because I want to be able to compose, because you really can't compose by doing this. The only guy that I could really see pull that off was Spike Jonze. He could do that and get such killer photos. You don't always have to shoot at 500th of a second. As the light goes down, you can shoot slower and slower, and you'll start to get that nice blur in the evening that you'll see in photos with the trails, and it can make a photo go from just documenting a photo to pure art. There we go. That's the shot right there. There's a right angle and a wrong angle. That was the right angle. If you shoot a frontside trick from behind, you're gonna get a butt shot, and it's just not the same. So I'll show you how to shoot a butt shot. Watch it come out good. Oops. Oops, yeah. Oh, wrong angle. See, would you say that's a wrong angle? It actually looks kind of good, but
sometimes as a skater, it's always good because you get instant gratification.
Yeah, they can come over and they can come over and see if you really know your stuff. There's the wrong angle.
And even a wrong angle looks good when Grant shoots.
Oh, sure, thanks. You want to do something over on that wall so I can get some sun in the background, like sunset? We moved all the lighting over to the other side of the pool, and I was trying to get more of a sunset type shot, and I was shooting Bucky do a frontside heel. It's kind of hard to keep your flashes out of frame sometimes. Make sure everything's still hooked up. Nothing got changed on my way over here. The problem with the angle to get the sun in, I really couldn't get his face in, and his board or his knees were covering up his face. And I always like to show the face. I mean, it's hard to tell how to put the lighting up because each time he might be a little bit off. So you kind of have to move the lighting back a little bit just to spread the light out over a bigger area. I'll see what he thinks. Could have gotten a little more of your face, but want to get more face.
A little peeky boo.
You know, you need to break the rules a little bit. You know, like before I said that you want to be ahead of the guy. On the frontside heel, I discovered that if I moved back a little bit and up underneath Bucky, I could get everything in. I could get his face. So I was slightly behind him, and I could shoot kind of when his legs went out, I could still see his face. I could see him gripping his board. I mean, you had the whole story. I had the coping in. That's another thing we didn't talk about was, you know, getting everything in. The coping is a reference point. It shows how high the person is, and it's not just that, you know, LA Times guy in the sky. You can't tell if he's 3 feet up or 8 feet up. So coping, you know, is really important. It's like when you shoot stair photos, you know, street photos, you want to show the top of the stairs and the bottom of the stairs. It shows, you know, how big it is. It's a reference point. You know what's great about bowl skating and taking photos in a bowl is that you've got all these man-made curves, and they come into the whole composition aspect of taking photos, and you can add those nice curves to your skate photo. You shoot a little further away and get right down with the coping and have the skater coming at you. You've got that nice curve, that leading line that goes into the action, and it actually draws the viewer's eye into the skate photo and then up and to the skater. You know, in today's square world, you have so many angles. It's just great to have these just really flowing curves in your photo, and it can really add to it. I just love empty pools. They're just beautiful to look at. I always like photos that tell stories, you know, without a caption. And earlier I said that you shouldn't have your shadow in the photo, but I have a photo of Chris Miller and that I shot with a pole cam, and you can see Chris's shadow and my shadow in the background on the opposite wall. And that comes in as a reference point because the camera is above him. You can't tell how high he is. But with that reference in the background, the shadow, you can see how high he is. You can see my pole camera. And again, that tells a story. You don't really need a caption. You can say, oh, whoa, I can tell what's going on. I think it's good to learn the rules first and then break the rules. I know I've thrown a lot of, you know, different techniques and rules and things like that at you. They're just suggestions. If you want to follow them, you can. If you want to take them, you can. You don't have to. Don't listen to me, listen to everybody. Just have fun with photography. That's all I care about. It's better than doing taxes. This is just a tool. It's like a car. You drive a car crazy, you crash. You drive this thing crazy, you don't get good photos. That's so stupid. It was that one beer. I drank that beer so it would loosen me up. And now it's a little too loose.